Hey, family, welcome to Keep It Raw. My name is Revell, and thank you for stopping by if this is your first time. If you're a returner, please make sure you hit those notification buttons. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, tell others, and continue to come by. This is How to Date Part 2, and How to Date Part 2, the agreement. The agreement. We living in a time where perilous times that the Lord said we would come to, where people are running to and fro. There's a lot going on that people will be marrying and giving in marriage. That means a lot of dating and marriage is preoccupied with the relationship instead of the relationship we should be having with Him. So every relationship should be a replica of the relationship with God. And so that's why we have such a divide, such problems, such issues, because God is being left out of the equation. And so my hopes is to say something today that inspire you to look back to God, to depend on God, to trust God, to pray of some sort, because He is the source of the relationships. What is an agreement? I want to dive right into that. What is an agreement? An agreement is a negotiation or arrangement between parties as to a course of action. Don't forget that relationships is in a negotiation. Keep that in mind. There's a negotiation that's taking place, and it's an arrangement between parties, two people, as to a course of action. So a lot of times people get into relationships or start dating, don't realize it's a negotiation that's supposed to take place. So that's what I want to focus on today, is helping you understand that when you begin to meet somebody and you go through the general connectiveness part where you maybe exchange numbers, you have basic communication, you're trying to see if you have a good vibe with this person. That's what I mean by general connectiveness. Beyond that, you begin to go into a stage of dating. The dating stage is a getting to know you stage. That's what it is. That's the only purpose for dating. It's a getting to know you stage. It's not a status. It's an event. It's an occurrence of events, or it can be expanded. But it's a getting to know you stage. That's the only purpose for dating. That's not a status. That's not somewhere you go and park, and that's not a destination. So keep that in mind. So you have to reach an agreement at the end of the getting to know you stage, negotiating. But it's pretty much saying what you expect, and you also making it clear what you have to offer. And that's just what it is. And often people get into relationships, and there's no discussion, there's no negotiation, and it's just like, okay, we'll just throw it up in the air and see what comes down. And that's not the way it was intended to be. And so, again, with the general connectiveness, keep in mind you're talking, not just texting. You want to call. And some people are comfortable with texting, but if they don't tell you not to call. It's okay to call. It's okay to show some initiative. Not the first hour, but show some initiative of some sort. You can call, because when you hear a person, from the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. And when you listen to a person's words, they're speaking whether they want to disguise it or not. From the abundance of the heart, the Lord said the mouth speaketh. So a lot of times you can tell what a person really means, and you can sense where they're going with as you hear what words they're saying and how they're saying it. So that's why it's important for communication, because from the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So you begin to understand. And men normally state what they want, and they may put a but there and a therefore, or try to be a little more vague as they go on, because they don't want to feel vulnerable. But men normally state. And so pay attention when they're talking, because they're telling you what they're looking for. And so you have to take that in and then make sure you're paying attention to it, so you know how to proceed forth. Okay? So the Bible asks, can two walk except they be agreed? They used to say birds of the same feather flock together. And so you got to be careful who you walking with, who you are in a line with. And so some people forever trying to fit what popular society is saying. Find your own lane and be happy and embrace who you are. Stop trying to be everybody else and then wonder why you're being left out. Because now you are replaceable. Be irreplaceable by being an individual. Hear what I just said. Be irreplaceable by being who you are. It's only one you, only one. And so be the best you that you can be. Stop trying to imitate and be like everybody else. Be you. That's it. And so you need to work on finding someone that you can agree with, because agreement is not easy to come by in this hour because of the selfishness. So find someone. So when you get in the early stages of the connectiveness and you're going through that stage of getting to know them, you're trying to see what are the commonalities. Don't run from the areas where there is no commonality, because it's okay to not agree on everything. You don't have to be the same, but you want to recognize the commonalities as well. So you want to find someone you can agree with. You want to find a yin for your yang. You want to find somebody that can lift you up when you're down, or that when you up, they can balance you out. And that's just what it's all about. So you're not going to find anybody perfect, but you're looking for somebody you can coexist with if there's a peacefulness there. As you begin to know that person and get more familiar with them, you don't have to feel a need to entertain or be on all the time. So find somebody that you can agree with and that can agree with you in faith and trust and have similarities in the things you're looking for and goals you're looking for. So keep that in mind. So when you get in the know you stage, stay out of the dark corners, the dark alleyways, and dark isolated areas. This is no time to get overly emotionally invested, because you're still getting to know them. And if you get too emotionally involved, you get totally distracted. You begin to go into the physical realm, the emotional realm, and you get into a whole lot of other hiccups and other hang-ups when you start doing that. So don't get into all of that. Channel your emotions. That's why I say you need to do the work as much as you can before pre-relationship coaching. Pre-relationship coaching, because the more you're together and you can see clearly, you're going to come to the table ready to negotiate. When you come to the table and you don't have yourself as together and what you want and what you're looking for and who you are, you're going to get the same that you've been getting. So get you some coaching, get somebody to help sort things out for you. So, and I strongly recommend pre-relationship coaching, because if you keep doing the same thing, you're going to get the same results. And so you're going to the table with someone that may be skilled at negotiating relationships and what they want. And you say, well, it's all one-sided. I'm not getting what I want. I'm tired of this. You just haven't been trained or taught how to negotiate what you want. And you're going to have to get that training. You got to get that coaching. So keep that in mind. And so if you constantly in relationships and it seems like a circus, it's because you're dealing with a clown. And so that's why you have a circus, because you're constantly dealing with a clown, or you're the clown. It depends. That person may think you're the clown, so it depends. But begin to get the work done as much as you can. Things from your past, start sorting that out. And so you're not bringing that to the table. Don't expect everybody to embrace all of that, because there's so much going on. People don't have time to sort through all of your foolishness from 10 years ago or 5 years ago. So do as much of the work you can. And of course, they're there to embrace you. The right person's going to embrace you, love you, and receive you in. But out of love for your potential mate or the person you're looking for, don't bring unnecessary stuff to the table, because that may be a deal breaker. It may be a bad deal. It's no negotiation when the deal is not right. If it's not a good deal, it don't matter what you negotiate. It's just not a good deal. It's just not, if the product is not right, the deal is not right. As simple as that. So you get in the know you stage. And remember, again, dating is not a destination or a status, but an occurrence or event. So you're going on one date. If the person is somebody you feel comfortable with, you go on a second date. That can be days away, a week away, or whatever it may be. And don't be overly judgmental early on, but be observant. Pay attention to what you're feeling and what you're thinking. But make sure you are not looking just on through your own senses. That's why I say prayer is important. But at the end of that period, and you can discuss this early on, there's a time to make an agreement. You're asking at this point, okay, I know this about you, you know this about me, and you're going that route, and you're saying, now, where do we want to take this? It's important that you have this, because a lot of relationships just go into this big cloud of vagueness, and you don't know what it becomes. It just become kind of a roll of the dice. So you actually going into it because it's still a negotiation. And so you don't got enough information to decide that you want to go further with this. And you have to see if this person want to go that same route. And there's nothing wrong if that person says no, they don't want to, or if they stop it sooner than that. Because if you get to the place where they're not returning your calls, that's all deals off. Go with how you feel to determine if it's a good deal. And so you do an agreement, you stating what you have to offer, you stating your expectations, you discussing your deal breakers, you're discussing your expectations. And so it's not like an actual contract, it's not that extreme, and maybe we have to get to that place, but it is a verbal agreement. It's like a verbal contract. If you expect the person to be a certain way, or to go out, to travel, or any of those type of things, it's okay to start expressing some of those things. If you're expecting a person to go to family events and you're explaining exactly, you're putting your cards on the table, what is it that you expect? But you have to have this, because if you just meet a person and you go through the general connectedness, everything seems cool, you have some ups and downs, and it's okay to have some disagreements. But again, stick to your 2 or 3 deal breakers. Don't have 10 or 15 deal breakers. Have 2 or 3 deal breakers. Have maybe 2 or 3 expectations, and then be able to work and negotiate with the rest. You hear me? Hear me? Don't make it complicated, because there's slim pickings out here. And so if you got a good person, and that may be a good person, they just may not be a good person for you. And that's okay too. And the same way with you. You wondering, why that person don't? You might be a good person, but you may not be a good fit for them. And they have a right, they reserve the right to decide what they want. But again, have the conversation about the agreement. You have to decide clearly if we're exclusive or not. Make sure that person commit or not commit. But if it stay vague, that means you don't have a commitment. If you don't have a commitment, that person, you're not in a relationship yet. So you can end the dating. You can just let them know that I'm done. No use wasting your time. So you have to make sure you have that discussion. And some people sometimes don't want to have that discussion. They want to keep it in a vague place. But you have to begin to ask, okay, where are we going with this? And again, that can happen anytime that dating period is coming to a close. And you the only one to determine that dating period, where it's 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But you want to give it time to get to know the person before you ask, okay, where are we going with this? You don't just come to negotiate, and at the end of the day, we just kind of have a understanding that this is the way it's going to go without some concrete decision on it. And you want to have these type of conversations as you get comfortable with the person. And so you negotiate terms you agreeing on, in terms of money. How often you're going to see each other? How vulnerable are you going to get with each other? How much you're going to involve your family and friends? How much you're going to involve in terms of going from 2 people to 1? Because that's what the relationship is about, is 2 becoming 1. So now you taking some steps that you wasn't taking maybe months ago. And so you have to decide how vulnerable you're willing to be and how close you're willing to invest. That's what it's all about, the negotiation. And again, how do you negotiate the terms? It's based on your deal breakers and your expectations. If it's a deal, it's going to be a deal. If it's not, it's just not a deal. And you have to be able to deal with the disappointments and move on. And so you have to decide, and this is a time to let that person know that this is your goal. It's marriage, companionship, or what your real goals are. And if you're saying your goal is to be engaged, long-term relationship or marriage, which should be the ultimate goal, you want to discuss that, what that looked like to you. If that person is not feeling that, or you all haven't got to that place, then you may want to pull back and let that person figure themselves out, because you don't want to get in a tug of war and you're the only one pulling from both sides. But you have to have this meeting, this agreement, to see if there is an agreement or a disagreement. to move forward. But don't just assume, because if you get into your emotions and you start liking this person more than what's good for you, you're going to have problems. You're going to have problems, and we all have been there in the past. So you're going to have to begin to negotiate and decide where you're going with this. And if it's not working for you, there may be a trade-off. There have to be a trade-off. You have to give some. It's not just what you want. Some things you're going to get what you want. Sometimes you're not. But you have to have the agreement. And then in a relationship, you want to reevaluate every 2 to 3 months. And you re-having that conversation because you continue to grow. Okay, where we at now? Where are we trying to go with this? And that's not stressful and like pulling teeth and all of that. It's just simply two people working together to be one, two becoming one. And that's a continued work. That's not just doing the dating stage. That's not only doing the engagement stage. That's not only doing the marriage stage. That's a continued effort, the two working to become one. Because as you evolve and circumstances evolve, you have to evolve with it. And you have to grow emotionally, spiritually, intellectually, and in different ways. And so the same way with a person weight. You may have an issue with a person putting on weight. You may want to express this in agreement, that I expect you to keep yourself together, I'm going to keep myself together. Or I expect you to treat me, and don't make these things stringent and frustrating. You want to be treated a certain way. You want to be treated like a lady, or you want to be treated like a man. You expect this, or in terms of your food or your clothes or bills and so forth, if you're going to even go that route. So again, the agreement is just coming to terms and putting everything on the table. And you're not going forth in a fog of confusion and uncertainty. So many people don't know what their status is because you didn't have an agreement. And so this is what this is about. Make sure you have an agreement. Don't agree to something you don't agree with. So remember to keep it real, keep it raw, and remember, let's strive to keep God first. And remember, relationships is just supposed to be a replica of the relationship you have with God. So let's look back to God, get off our high horses and begin to pray, humble ourselves so we can see clearly. And there's a lot of great people out there, but let's work on ourselves so we can begin to be all that we can be. And then in that, God is able to do what he wants to do with you. So remember, God bless you, and see you next time.